everyone, so today I'm going to do a follow-up to my confidence video that I put up earlier this year, and although that video was kind of different than anything I've ever done, a lot of people liked it and I got such a positive response that I wanted to do a follow-up for a question that I get regarding confidence and something that will help you guys. Again, I've gathered a lot of concrete things that you can do, and I want to say thank you, by the way, for the response that I got for the confidence video. I didn't know what to expect. It was the first kind of inner beauty video that I've ever done, and you know, if I have encouraged one woman to go to the bathroom by herself without her girlfriends, then I can die in peace. And you can put that on my tombstone. Here lies Nur. Women went to the bathroom by themselves because of her. But today, I'm gonna go through a couple of steps and things that I've actually really thought out that are gonna help you speak with confidence, because once you've nailed the body language and you can walk into a room and you can give off the vibe of confidence, what do you do when it's time to speak in front of people, whether it's one person or thousands of people? So here we go. Here are some steps that are gonna help you speak with confidence. The first tip that I have for you is to speak slowly. And that's something that I've had to teach myself how to do, because you may not be nervous, but you speak quickly to kind of get tasks done. But when you're speaking too quickly, you're doing one of two things. You're conveying that either you're nervous, or B, that what you have to say is not valuable, because you're saying to the other person or to the thousands of people you may be speaking to, I'm talking quickly, what I'm saying is not important, it doesn't matter if you even hear it. So learn to speak slowly. The next tip is to expand your vocabulary, and you do that, the absolute best way to do that is by reading books. And I think we're in a day and age where people read less than they ever have in the history of man, because we can watch everything, for example this, or we have such a short attention span that books can't keep our interest. Read books that use language of which you want to sound like. So, not Twilight. Harry Potter, believe it or not, when I was thinking about this and thinking about this tip, J.K. Rowling actually writes extremely well, and she did a speech at Harvard in which she spoke extremely well. But read stuff that's at your level. Have I read Twilight? Have I read Harry Potter? Have I read something that's below my reading level? Yeah, but I'm usually reading a couple things at once, and I'm not secluding myself to only those types of books, that genre, or that reading level. I personally love business books. I think those are fantastic, and they usually have to speak at a higher level to communicate what it is that's going on. If business bores you, find a writer whose style that you like. Personally, my absolute favorite writer, favorite books, Robert Greene. He's written 48 Laws of Power, Art of Seduction, and he recently came out with Mastery. I love the way that he writes. And if you want to practice sounding like that, read out loud. So whatever it is, the language that you want to sound like, for example, if let's say you take a Robert Greene book, read excerpts out loud so that you can hear yourself saying these things and it doesn't sound so foreign to you anymore. And when you come across things that you don't understand, look the concept up or look up the definition of the word so that you're not misusing vocabulary. There's nothing worse than somebody who's speaking and they want to come off intelligent and then they say something that makes absolutely no sense at all. It's like you could have sounded mediocre and now you just sound really dumb. So don't abuse using vocabulary. Make sure you do know what you're saying. Read books to help expand your vocabulary and practice saying it out loud so it doesn't sound weird to hear your own voice saying those words. The next tip is something that is almost become part of colloquial English. It's just the way that people have come to speak, and as quickly as I adopted it, I stopped it. And it is people disqualifying their statements, responses, replies before, during, or after they make the statement. So what do I mean? I've written down some examples so I can tell you exactly what it is, and you're gonna be able to point it out the minute people do it and the minute that you do it. Normally, if you're texting or you're emailing, you can correct yourself. Being vocal, like in conversation, is gonna be the hardest because you don't get to go back and delete stuff. But here we go. They're saying things like, do you wanna go see this movie? And the response is, I think I would rather see this movie and not that one. If you've made the decision, don't say I think. I wanna see this movie. And you don't even have to talk about the other one. I wanna see this movie, point blank, period. Another example, people saying, I don't know. I don't know, I don't feel right about this. If you don't feel right about something, you don't feel right about it. You don't have to say you don't know. Sometimes people disqualify at the end of the statement. They'll get all the way to the end and then they say something that's like, okay, you're not sure. For example, I'll try this one, I guess. No, I'll try this one, be certain. So I think I don't know, I guess. Think about how often and how prevalent that is in today's language. I know I've been guilty of it, but the minute that I noticed it, I try to eradicate it. Use it in the literal sense. If you really don't know, you say, I don't know. But I don't understand why it has to be in the middle of the sentence, the beginning of the sentence, or the end of the sentence. Be definite, be decisive. This goes to the tip in my first confidence video about being decisive. This is how you're decisive in your words. The next tip is to not be verbose in your communication. So a lot of people are guilty of this. They feel that when they communicate an idea or a concept, or they give a suggestion, or they are making an apology, they feel like they have to overcompensate. You don't have to overcompensate in words. In fact, it makes you seem like you're lying or you have no clue what you're talking about. So don't underestimate other people's intelligence, and definitely don't make yourself come off guilty. So when you want to communicate something, focus on the details and make sure that it's concise. And in terms of an apology, and the only reason I think about this is because I had to apologize for something that I was missing out on last night, and I get these apologies all the time where people are like, I'm so sorry, I feel so bad, and it just goes on, and it's like, I'm sorry I even invited you, or like, I'm sorry I even asked. Get to the point. It's great to be apologetic, be sincere. I'm sorry, you don't even have to give an explanation if you don't want to. If it's not their business, it's not their business, but get right to the point. I'm sorry. If you overcompensate your apology, it devalues your apology in the future. Know that. When you start to do that and you say sorry in the future, your sorry means just a little bit less. The next tip for confidence in speech is to pay attention to your tone and your inflection. So how are you speaking? What are you emphasizing? And what are you saying without the words that you're using? How are you using your voice? Honestly, speaking is kind of like singing. So it's something to be considered. You don't just speak monotone. You don't just get through things. You're not throwing words together. You are singing a song in a sense, because if you can figure out how to use your tone, your cadence, your timing to emphasize points, you've mastered the English language. And it's something that a lot of great speakers do. Another thing that people do is they'll speak just fine until they get to the end of the sentence, and then they're waning off. Did you even hear what I said? Do you think I think what I said was important? If I'm dying towards the end of the sentence, if I'm fading away, make sure that you keep your consistent volume even as you're getting towards the end of the point that you're trying to make. Whatever the end of the sentence is, be consistent. Beginning to period, question mark, exclamation mark, whatever it is, make sure that you're not fading at the end. The next tip is really crucial for communication in the sense that a lot of people don't do this enough because they feel like they're not able to. And it is think before you speak. How many times have we heard that? How many people actually do that? Not many. In the heat of the moment, or you might be in the middle of a conversation and you can't exactly collect your thoughts or organize them, and you need maybe 30 seconds to do so. And 30 seconds can feel like a long time when you're one-on-one or in front of a huge audience. And so people don't feel like they have the right to take some time and say that they need to think. Don't use fillers. Instead, they'll say or make noises or just fillers. It's perfectly okay in the middle of a conversation to say, I need to think, and to actually think and not have anxiety about that silence. Silence is a really powerful tool. In fact, if you can use that tool to make really powerful statements, by all means. It doesn't matter if you're talking in front of one person or 1,000 people, it's okay to say, I need to think. And it's actually gonna have a really great effect, because if you've lost your audience at some point, they've zoned out, they're not listening anymore, you're gonna be able to reel them back in because it stops the noise. All of a sudden it's silence and your audience is gonna be like, oh, wait, what's happening? He or she's about to think about something, so what they're gonna say is even more profound. It's a great way to reel your audience back in, if you've lost them. The best thing to do is don't lose them at all, but hey, it happens, right? And so use it to your advantage. Say, I need to think, take the time to think, and then speak. The last tip I'm gonna give you, and quite arguably the most important one, is to make the decision that you wanna speak with confidence. So take something maybe you've thought about before, but if you can think about it consciously, you can really make that effort. It's something that you should practice every day. It's just like muscles. If you don't want to lose your muscles, you have to work out. Simple. It's the same thing. It doesn't come naturally. This tip goes for speaking with confidence and acting with confidence, because it's the whole mentality of fake it till you make it. And if you don't step in those shoes and put on that role before you can actually say, I speak with confidence or I am confident, you'll never know what it's gonna feel like. So fake it till you make it, go ahead and make a mental commitment, and I promise that you guys will work towards it. I think, after watching this alone, the next time you send a text or send an email, you're gonna think about, well, I'm not gonna second guess myself. I'm not gonna use disqualifiers. I'm gonna perhaps Google to make sure that I'm spelling something right. I'm not gonna shorthand. No, now it's just getting personal, and I'm being, all about the way that people speak internet lingo. Words are very powerful things. Words are weapons. Weapons can be used to hurt or they can be used to save. So understand that it's a weapon that you can wield, and be very careful with how you wield that weapon. In a day and age where we constantly communicate, you're gonna write comments here, you're gonna tweet me, you're gonna make comments on Instagram, Facebook, wherever. Understand the power of your words, because I think sometimes that goes over our head because we do it all the time and we don't stop to think, what kind of effect is this going to have? Just be cognizant of the way that you use your words. When you write or speak, are you helping or are you hurting? Are you using your words as a bullet or are you using it as a band-aid? Because words are powerful things. So just keep that in mind. I talk a lot about honing a lot of skills. Confidence has been a recurring one. Being strong, being independent, being a free thinker, but not at the consequence of kindness. If you can temper everything that you do for the rest of your life with kindness, you're an incredible person. And you will live a much more fulfilling and rich life. So, be kind. Be kind with your words.